Breaking news, one of the Cinefanatics is the new Superman. Which one is it? Let us know in the chat. What's going on, everyone? We are the Cinefanatics. This is the tagline. It is Wednesday night. My name's Robert Adams, and that
Chris
one
Adams.
is... Huh?
Why are you mixing it up? Why are you mixing it up? You say I'm Robert Adams, and then I say I'm Chris Adams. You don't try to introduce me. Don't throw me off. It's bad enough we already got a delay in StreamYard. Look, I'm gonna rip into your head off. Rip. What are we doing here? I quit. I'm gonna go be Superman.
You're gonna go be Superman. Yeah, that ain't happening. Anyways, what is going on, everyone? There's a lot to talk about. A lot of casting stuff going on this past week. But before we jump into that, there is the usual YouTube stuff. Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. You got questions, comments, issues, complaints, let us know at that location right there. Patreon.com. If you feel like we are worthy of your support and you have the means to support us, please feel free to hop on whichever tier you feel like that you can handle. Also, benefits on Patreon. Tonight, after the tagline, we will be doing our monthly watch along. We are watching Avengers Age of Ultron tonight. It is streaming on Disney Plus. So hop on the $5 due tier. If you're not there already, join us in our Discord in the voice chat, and we'll probably do a group watch if everyone has access to the D+. So come join us there. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't call it that. So, side note, just no more D+.
What did they vote for in our Patreon poll?
D+. Anyways, yeah, so Age of Ultron. So that's what we're watching roughly after the tagline's over. It turns out to be like 8 Pacific or 11 Eastern, whatever time zone you're in. Mountain time, I have no idea what you people are doing. So anyways, upcoming shows. What?
There is no what. You're just like... Anyway,
I am so tired. I had a doctor's appointment today. Yeah. I'm needing to wake my butt up, but
you are live on the internet right now.
I know.
Dig deep.
I had a doctor's appointment, which I haven't had for a while, so they wanted to check everything. They didn't check everything. Yeah, they didn't check any. They just asked me questions. They didn't do any of that stuff.
Oh.
I was kind of hoping they would.
It wasn't a fun doctor's appointment then.
I mean, yeah, I was offering to slip like a 50 spot, but no, just couldn't get it. Anyways, so coming up shows tomorrow night, we will have our spoiler-free review for Fast X up. This one should actually be up earlier than when we have been dropping them because we're seeing the movie much earlier in the day tomorrow. So look for the actual review. We'll probably drop like, I know on our end, Central Time Zone, we're looking at around like 9-ish maybe or so. We'll see.
You know what's funny? Maybe a little bit earlier than that. You know what's funny is I remember back in the day when a new comic book movie would come out and there was midnight releases for them. And it was a big deal to go at midnight. You got to be there at like, you gotta get to the theater like at 10:30 or 11 to get in line so that you could get a seat. You get your ticket and get a seat in time for the midnight release. Mm-hmm. And they did it on Thursdays, and you had to be at the midnight release because that was the first showing of the brand new movie, and it would come out on midnight on the Friday.
Well, so the rule was the movie dropped on Friday, so you couldn't watch it until Friday. Yeah. So
now, fast forward to nowadays, and they're like, yes, the movie comes out Friday. You can see it at 3:00 in the afternoon on Thursday. You don't need to. You don't need to wait in line. You can order a ticket online and just show up at 3:30.
And I'm curious as to what caused that to happen. Like, why did they do that? It's the same thing with Black Friday. Like, Black Friday used to be like 6 a.m. Friday morning. Like, you have to line up at Walmart or Toys R Us or Best Buy or whatever, and they don't open the doors till like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
And then they pushed it back to Thursday, where as soon as people are done with their Thanksgiving meals, hightail it to go camp out at the store.
But it scooted back in like levels. Like it ended up like pushing back to at least at the store I worked at, it wouldn't open till like midnight, and it would only be open for like 2 hours. So you get the ultimate doorbusters right at midnight on Friday. You shop for 2 hours, and then you go out, go home. Everyone goes to bed. Then they come back, and the store opens like at 9 a.m. or whatever, like normal. And it's normal from then on, but it's that 2 hours at midnight. And then it ended up getting pushed all the way to like 5 o'clock Thanksgiving afternoon. I'm like, guys, what are we doing?
I don't miss this. I don't miss those days.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they have the movies that start on Wednesdays. They did that too. Like it used to be movies either opened on Fridays or Wednesdays.
Just for some reason, the week. Most movies open on Fridays now.
Yeah, I don't.
You got a few that open on Wednesdays, but most of them usually open on Fridays.
The last time I saw a Wednesday showing was that Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Which that was just weird. But
it is weird because that's a kids movie and kids are in school.
Yeah.
But, that was the perfect time for all the adults to be able to go see Super Mario without the kids hanging around before the weekend.
Mm-hmm. And then they had to go see it again, which actually kind of makes sense because it's the adults who are the ones that are primarily like picking out the Easter eggs and enjoying like the little nods to like the old Nintendo NES Mario and stuff. So
yeah.
Most kids aren't like familiar with the 1985 Super Mario Brothers game. So
anyway, Fast X review tomorrow.
Yeah, so Fast X review will be up earlier tomorrow instead of like 1-2 o'clock in the morning. So keep an eye out for that. Marquee coming up Friday, May 26th. That is going to be live action Disney remakes, including Peter Pan and Wendy and The Little Mermaid. We've got reviews are coming in for Little Mermaid already, and it's weird. Like some of them are really good. Some of them are,
Reviews are coming in for Little Mermaid, and this just in, it's a Disney live action movie.
Yeah, there's like some people are like, well, it's what you expect out of a Disney live action. And then I've seen some reviews like, no, full stop. This is the Disney live action movie that will make all the other Disney live action movies better from now on. This is the Disney live action movie that's turning everything around. I'm like, highly doubt it.
If Jungle Book didn't do that.
Yeah.
Let me not give any hints away, though, for our marquee about what I'm putting in a higher tier.
Yeah, so we'll see. I feel like I'll reserve the final judgment on Little Mermaid, since that's definitely a cartoon I liked as a kid. So I will be a very harsh critic on it.
I will be the decider of your vote.
I will say if it's good or bad. Anyways, real quick, going back up to Patreon. So tonight is the watch along. Next Wednesday will be the trivia hangout. So join us at the Maverick tier next Wednesday for the trivia.
Have you already been doing questions?
I haven't been doing questions yet, and I'm kind of thinking, should we do a theme? Do you want to do a theme?
Disney movies.
That's what I'm thinking too. Disney movies would be fun.
We might specify more like Disney animated or Disney, or a fair mix of live action and animated.
I don't know. There's a lot of like, I grew up watching a lot of Disney movies, animated live action, like over and over and over and over and over again. So some of those would be fun to ask some questions. Here's Robert's favorites mixed in with like other ones. I'm not just going to do all like Mary Poppins trivia the whole time. That would just boring.
I like Garth's comment here. They used a red Jamaican land crab for Sebastian, which cannot survive under the sea. Yes, in a movie about a woman whose lower half is fins, the red Jamaican crab not surviving in the sea is where it lost you.
Kind of piggybacking on that, I saw an image, some promotional image.
No pause, no beat there, no yes-anding me. Cool, moving on.
Well, so I saw an image of the bird, the Aquafina's playing Scuttle, like actually underwater with him. I'm like, why? Why is this bird underwater with all the fish and the mermaids and whatnot?
Because it's fictional.
No. Come to find out, the bird that she's playing, the type of bird that they modeled Scuttle after, again, is not a seagull. I forgot what the name of that species of bird is, but it is a bird that swims underwater to hunt for fish. it like nosedives into the water. So I was watching like images and videos of this bird. I was like, okay, that's cool. So I like the change on it. That way they can include Scuttle in more than just like the 2 scenes of the original movie.
I can't watch this movie though. They used a land crab.
Yeah. I also looked up today just because I was curious. Because of what? You're saying stuff and I can't hear you.
What do you just go on with your thing?
Okay. So I was looking up something else.
Wake up.
I'm awake. I just can't hear you. Talk up. Speak up.
Mike is right in front of my face.
Yeah, but it's very quiet.
I don't know what you want me to do.
Speak up. I just said it. Something else I looked up that we didn't know is who is playing Vanessa in this movie. It's Vanessa, the woman that Ursula turns into towards the end. And I don't know the actress. I don't recognize the name or anything, but the pictures of her, I was like, she looks exactly like Vanessa from the cartoon. Like exactly.
I wonder if it's also like Melissa McCarthy playing like a dual role of some sort. Is she CGI?
No, it's a completely different actress.
Interesting.
Yeah. But like that is probably the best casting out of all of them is the casting for Vanessa. Brian, no, Chef Louis will not appear apparently. From what I've read, the song Les Passons was removed.
Yes, but will the priest with the boner appear?
Probably not.
Damn it. That's half the reason to see the movie.
I needed the priest with the boner in my Disney cartoon.
It's half the reason to watch the movie.
By the way, anyone who just now clicked on this video who has never seen us ever and just heard like the past 10 seconds, we're the Cinefanatics. We don't typically talk about priests' boners on here. We talk about movies. Just want to make sure we were clear on that. Just please don't click away.
Click on the video. I need priest boners.
Well, that was interesting. Sorry I clicked on their channel.
Okay, all right. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Smash it if you like.
Yeah. Anyways, so trivia hangout. Yeah, I think I'll probably do like Disney trivia. That sounds like that would be fun. We'll see how well I'm good at writing Disney trivia questions. So moving on. Movies watched this past week. Nothing. Been really busy. Yeah, really I think busy. The only new movie I watched, I was following up last week I watched The Collector, which I was saying was that supposed to be a origin movie for Jigsaw from the Saw franchise. I watched the sequel, which was The Collection. So not much better. So anyways, otherwise, yeah, I didn't watch any other Disney live action movies. I agree with you. I do want to go back and rewatch the 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the poll for the Patreon watch along tonight. They did not.
Nobody wanted to watch it. So
we'll watch it on our own. But anyways, I think that is about all we need to cover for right now. So let's move into some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
All right, guys, let's talk about that box office. Week number 2. I'm going to give you guys a hint. There's a Chris Pratt movie at number 1. Can you guess which one it is? Here's another. The other one is number 2.
Did any new movies come out this week, or was everyone like, yeah, no, we're just going to stay away from that Mario Guardians thing?
There are a few. I haven't heard about pretty much any of them. So yeah, number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with a 62 million poll for its second week, a little bit less than a 50% drop off from week number 1. Total gross currently domestically is about 214.7 million. So that's it's about what you expect right now from a non-event, I guess, Marvel movie, but some might consider Guardians of the Galaxy 3 event since it's the capper of the trilogy. Chris talks while eating food. I'm not eating food. That was a mint. Something to suck on, like candy. Number 2 is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Surprise, surprise. With another 12.6 million in its 6th week. That thing is now available to watch at home too. You can now home viewing Super Mario Brothers, and it's sitting at number 2 in the box office. Which I don't know if that's necessarily a testament to how good the movie is, or how much people want to go see it in the theaters, or just how much nothing else has come out to kind of compete with it. But either way, it's not doing too bad.
I think that's still like kind of like what we were talking about last week with the difference now, like post-pandemic era is these movies just come out much faster. That movie came out like what, the beginning of April?
6 weeks ago. So
we're halfway through May, so 45 days later. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's what you're going to start seeing is pretty much all these movies hitting about 45 days later onto home viewing, a streaming service of some sort. I know that Quantumania, I think, just came out on Disney Plus.
But Quantumania is weird because it's also been available for streaming, like VOD, for almost the past month now, I believe.
Yeah, which this also explains why Quantumania is down at number 16 right now.
Yeah.
So number 3 is Book Club, The Next Chapter, which that's a new release. And here's the thing. The subtitle of The Next Chapter tells me that this movie is a sequel. I don't ever remember hearing about the first Book Club.
This might come as a surprise, given that one over there has a giant-ass Pikachu behind him, and I have a Venom and Nicolas Cage pillow. There's Shawshank and Avengers. Book Club, not necessarily the type of movie we're watching.
It's not on our radar.
Now, as this channel gets bigger and we become more and more
don't commit us to this. Don't commit us to this.
We're probably still not going to watch it.
There you go. Thank you. All right, cool.
No, as this channel gets bigger, that may afford us more time to be able to watch these other movies like that. Like, for example, I've heard some good things about Polite Society. Haven't been able to go see that either. Just it's the matter of time with working full time and running the YouTube channel. So
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Even if I was paid full time to run a YouTube channel, I probably still wouldn't go see Book Club.
Well, you know what? Then I'll be your book club / horror movie expert on the Cinefanatics. Expect to see a trailer reaction to Book Club Chapter 3 along with the Five Nights at Freddy's trailers when they drop. By the way, that Five Nights at Freddy's trailer was great.
We don't hate books, we just nothing them.
Yeah, I don't have the attention span to read books. I did read a lot of books when I was younger. I've said plenty of times, I love Jurassic Park, the book. I think the book is actually better than the movie story-wise. Obviously, the movie's better when it comes to puppets and CGI because you don't have that in books.
And honestly, like I read Holes when I was in school. And so when the movie came out and I finally had a movie that I could watch that I could compare to the actual book that I read all the way through. And gosh darn, that was one of the best adaptations of a book I've ever seen in movie form, to be honest. Oddly. It's actually really, really well done.
But I mean, to clarify, most of the books we read are books that are also movies.
That's true too.
I love A Time to Kill. That was a good book also.
Look, we've read before. We are readers at some point or another in our lives. We're just not actively readers right now because there's too much to do. There's too much to do, too much to watch, too much going on. Don't have the attention span to sit down and read a book. We don't hate books. It's just not our forte.
It took me 8 hours to possibly sit through and read a book, or 2 hours to watch the movie version of it.
If there is a movie version of it.
If there is, yeah. I'm going to watch the movie.
Just be honest, like I'm rewatching all the Harry Potters right now. I don't plan on ever reading them.
Read the novelization of Book Club in a book club. I would try that just to mess with it, and that would be like a video or vlog or something I would do.
While there's a screening of Book Club happening in the background.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 4 in the box office is Evil Dead Rise. That thing is hanging tight in the top 10 for a while. I think that might actually hit 100 million. Might be actually I don't know. That's coming to VOD soon, isn't it?
It already is.
It already is.
Yeah.
It might hit 100 million. I mean, it's at 60 million domestic right now. What is it worldwide? Oh, no. It's past 100 million worldwide. It's 132 million worldwide. So
Yeah,
there you go.
that's a good movie. That's a really good movie.
That's a good number for a horror movie that doesn't have a high budget.
That's essentially a legacy sequel where there's, again, keep in mind, the Evil Dead franchise is one of those franchises. There's no bad movie. The most negative thing you could say is like Army of Darkness is more like PG-13 because there's no real violence or gore in it at all. The only reason it's rated R is because of like F words. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
That's the most negative thing you could say about that entire franchise.
Number 5, we've got Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Number 6 is Hypnotic, which was that that Ben Affleck movie?
That's that movie that if you mix it with Hennessy, then you get the Incredible Hulk movie.
Oh my God.
Who
Hypnotic, followed up by Everclear and Absinthe.
I was to say Hypnotic and Hennessy. Who knows your was it like ghetto mixed drinks? Just
I like how it's distributed.
Before,
This movie is distributed by Ketchup Entertainment. I've never heard of that. It's funny. Number 7 is John Wick Chapter 4. Number 8, Love Again. Number 9, Air. And number 10, still hanging out in the top 10 for 7 weeks now, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves,
which is also available on VOD.
Yeah. I think John Wick Chapter 4 should be also, right?
I think it is actually, yeah.
8 weeks, been out for 8 weeks, so there you go. Yeah, Hypnotic, I would call Hypnotic a flop if it opens at number 6 to less than $2.5 million.
I don't even think I've heard of that.
Worldwide, 3.2 million.
What is that? Who's in it?
I think this is the Ben Affleck movie, right? Let me see.
Why is there another Ben Affleck movie?
Ooh, Robert Rodriguez directed it. Yeah, Ben Affleck, Alice Braga. Yeah. A detective investigates a mystery involving his missing daughter in a secret government program. So that sounds like a lot of other movies.
So I love that because since it said it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, I just immediately went down to this area where it says filming. Principal photography began in Austin on September 27th of 2021. This was a movie that was filmed here in Austin by Robert Rodriguez, whose studio is based here in Austin.
Yep.
We don't know anything about this movie.
Yeah, that's not a good
how
sign.
Bad it is.
I think I've heard about it. I heard it brief mentions and talks about it before. I think like when a trailer came out or something like that, but just wasn't interested. But there you go. That is your box office, everybody. Fun stuff.
You know, I think I want to take a break from hosting a tagline. Why don't you talk about something?
Oh, okay.
I literally go nowhere without them.
Listen, I know that the intro gets longer and longer.
But it's good. It's good. You like it, and you're willing to sit through it. So can't wait till the movie comes out where the intro to our review is going to be like 4 minutes long.
Exactly. You know who's not in that intro, and I kind of wish they were?
Who?
Well, I'll give you a hint. His name is John Cena!
No, he is in the intro.
He's not in the intro.
He is in the intro.
This is a dumb joke. Stop it. He's not in the intro. He is playing a merman. We covered this before when we were talking about the cast posters and everything and how he doesn't have one. We have not seen John Cena in merman attire yet.
Never mind.
Yes. So the news came out about how he got involved in it, and let me read through some quotes and stuff here real quick. He said it was a happy accident, and I think that Barbie and Fast X actually share a lot of parallels. The cast list is amazing. The Barbie cast list is amazing. The Fast X cast list is amazing. He's saying on the NBC morning show today, on the Today Show, I guess. So with a lot of opportunity, it was a chance for me maybe to say, hey, would you guys be willing to have me if I could do something? So he was like, hey, I want to get in there. I want to get in on this movie. It sounds fascinating. He kind of pitched the film himself for the film in an accidental run-in with Margot Robbie. He said, I would do pretty much whatever you guys need because I really enjoy the movie. And they asked me if I wanted to be a merman. So he's pitching it to Margot Robbie, who apparently makes a lot of decisions with the rest of the casting after she was casted. So I
think she's like an executive producer of it too.
Yeah. So she has actually a pretty strong hand over the creation of this movie. It's Cena joked with the host saying that he likes to think that his merman tail is more than average size. Anyway, he was talking to the Today Show host about how he got involved in everything, pitching himself to Margot Robbie, basically going, I will do anything you guys need. And they were like, well, you want to be a mermaid person? And he was like, sounds good. Sign me up.
I'm going to need you to get that fish dude's pronouns correct.
Anyway, I can't wait for this movie. I know we all can't wait. And just the fact that John Cena is playing a merman in this movie is just absolutely amazing. Still wish he was in this intro, though.
I literally go nowhere without them.
I think we need to make it very clear that Ryan Gosling literally goes nowhere without them.
Yes, he literally goes nowhere.
The places he goes without the rollerblades is nowhere. And without the rollerblades, there's nowhere he goes.
And we're not talking about the floating head of a dead celestial.
Rollerblade?
Nowhere.
Got it. I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 here recently, and
nope.
Listen. Literally go nowhere without them. All right, Barbie watch. That was fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally happened. Big announcement. That movie Rust has wrapped production. Finally. Those of you who may not be familiar with this, real quick, not that I want to expand upon this because of reasons, but this was the movie that Alec Baldwin was filming that had the accidental prop gun go off, and unfortunately, it shot the cinematographer and killed her.
Fatally wounded the cinematographer.
And so after everything, all the dust has settled, basically lawsuits and stuff, putting the production on hiatus. They finally came back. They kicked up production again, and they have finished production on this. I am curious to see how this movie is going to perform.
I also am, because that made like major actual news. That's not just like, that's not just news for film Twitter, which is a very niche audience when you actually think about it. Like these film Twitter will harp on something, they'll get on the back of something and they'll go to town on it, but the general audiences will never know. This made actual like news. Like general audiences found out about this movie because of this.
I have not heard of something like this happening on the filming of a movie since 1994's The Crow. And anyone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think this has happened since. I know there's been accidents on sets. People have gotten hurt. That happens a lot, especially in movies that have like action and stunts.
Tom Cruise.
That happens a lot of times. But a prop weapon for whatever reason, no matter what, if it had live ammo or like it wasn't loaded properly, it was the blank bullet that was in there. Just for some reason, just something was weird or off about it. I have not heard of a firearm malfunctioning or not inspected correctly and killing a person since The Crow in '94. And frankly, at that time, might be a surprise, wasn't running a YouTube channel talking about movies. So I don't know exactly how that affected when the movie came out. The other thing with that, though, is The Crow was based off of a previously known IP. So no matter what, you still had a built-in fan base of people who wanted to watch The Crow on the big screen.
Yeah.
This... I don't think this was actually based off of a previous IP. I might actually be wrong on that, though. I can't remember if it's based off like a book or something. But either way, I don't think it has a plethora of fans like a comic book IP did. So I'm very curious to see what the results are when this movie gets released.
Truth be told, and this is what I would do, if it's not actually based on a previous IP, I would recommend that they change the title of the movie. That's my biggest recommendation right off rip. Just find a new title for the film. Because what's going to happen is like everybody knows that Rust. Anyone who saw that news story knows that Rust. They'll immediately see Alec Baldwin's in it. They'll make the connection. Oh yeah, that's right. Rust was the movie where that accident happened.
Yeah.
I think if you change the name of it, you go somewhere different. Yeah, Alec Baldwin's still in it, but if you go somewhere different with the name, people they're not going to immediately catch up onto it.
I'm also curious, what do they do in situations like that? I don't know whether this is something, the thing I'm about to bring up, I don't know if this is something artistic or legal or what you do, but how do you credit cinematography for that movie? Like, is Helena Hutchins the cinematographer who was shot and killed? Is she going to be the sole credited cinematographer, or are they going to have like a dual cinematographer with whoever took over? I'm thinking if they legally can, but I know this is something when you get into productions of movies, you're talking about stuff that has to pass through, like say the Directors Guild or the Writers Guild or the Actors Guild, stuff like that. There are certain rules that these productions have to follow. I don't know if they can typically credit just a single cinematographer when someone else was brought on.
I think cast can go uncredited.
Mm-hmm.
Actors and whatnot can go uncredited, but I don't know that people who actually work on the movie can go uncredited. I think everybody typically has it in their contracts, something about being credited in some way. And so in that situation, no, I think you get two cinematographers on that movie.
Was Joss Whedon actually ever credited for Justice League?
I believe so.
I can't remember if in the final movie that was released in 2017 if he was credited at that time.
I'm curious to see what IMDb says. The thing of it is that I do believe that you're going to get two cinematographers credited for that movie, with also, of course, the usual with love and honor in memory of kind of to her.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm trying to think. What was the other one? Wasn't it? Was it Bohemian Rhapsody? Bohemian Rhapsody was being directed by Bryan Singer, and then Bryan Singer stepped down, and what's his face took over.
On IMDb, it says Zack Snyder is the director of Justice League, not Joss Whedon.
Oh, who's the director who took over Bohemian Rhapsody? Because he also went on to do Rocket Man.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah. But I mean, Rocket Man was good, which was sad that like his name was kind of like buried in with whatever the ordeal with Bryan Singer on Bohemian Rhapsody.
Dexter Fletcher,
because Rocket Man was a good adaptation. That was a good movie too, and I wish it got more recognition. So,
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So Rust has finished. I didn't think that movie was ever actually going to get made.
Yeah.
Once the accident happened, I was like, yeah, there's no reason to make this movie. Like, all this movie is going to do is just bring up the story. And
unfortunately, I think something really like not that like a person dying on set isn't a big deal, but something extraordinarily beyond, whatever bad has to happen to completely cancel an entire movie, or the studio just has to determine that they don't want to release it. WB.
Yeah.
Bad girl.
Yeah.
No,
that was Dexter Jetster.
He ran Dexter Fletcher ran the diner.
I mean, they could have credited him as Dexter Fletcher. It just really depends on things like how big your pocketbook is.
Yeah.
That dude had the most glorious mustache.
Dexter Fletcher, he lives outside the Rishi Maze. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you have to have something crazy in order to like cancel a movie like that. And unfortunately, because of corporate money and all of that, one person dying on set isn't enough to completely cancel a movie. So
yeah. So the next thing I want to look at is it was previously announced because of the success of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies and like also kind of sort of because of the success of Super Mario Brothers, Sega has announced that they're going to make more movies based off of their other video games. That's right. Sega, a competitor of Nintendo, not owned by the same company, has used the fact that the Super Mario Brothers movie was so successful. They have decided to make more movies about their characters. I'm highlighting this because we still have not heard shit from Nintendo about them making more movies on their characters. Like, the hell?
Where's the Super Mario Brothers sequel? Or you're clearly going to work on one, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Where is like Metroid or?
Well, so we also still need to see, in this
Zelda.
regards, we do need to see a third Sonic movie, and we know that Knuckles is getting a spin-off TV show, basically.
Yeah.
So, of course, who knows if Jim Carrey's actually going to reprise his role as Robotnik? Is he retired? Who knows?
Yeah, since they said he retired.
Yeah. But what other properties is there like a list of like properties that say it was just like offhandedly throwing around that, hey, we could make this a movie if we wanted to?
Yeah, I'm trying to find where that list was.
Ooh, Jonathan's got a good point. We might get some news on the Super Mario sequel at Comic-Con. That would make sense. Be a good time to say that you already have like animatics and everything like drawn out and whatnot for it, and be like, oh yeah, we're already in the progress of making it. We just didn't announce it yet.
Yeah, and I had this up. I'm sorry for the unprofessionalism of not having this up and available to go, but
it's because he's tired, guys.
Yeah. Everything else that we're going to talk about, I have like whatever I need available to talk about. For some weird reason, this one just slipped past me. I don't know if there actually is a full list. This one I was looking at off of Dark Horizons was saying that Sega's notable franchises outside of Sonic include games like Yakuza, aka Like a Dragon, Streets of Rage, Total War, Virtua Fighter, Shenmue, I'm probably butchering that, sorry, Phantasy Star, Super Monkey Ball, and Megami Tensei, which I'm probably butchering that as well.
There's so many of these.
I'm so peeved. Sorry.
There's so many of these that I very much don't care about ever seeing made into a movie.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. In all honesty, what are other Sega properties? The only ones I could think of is stuff like Toe Jam and Earl or Echo the Dolphin, and I don't even know if those are exclusive to Sega.
I want to say Bayonetta is Sega, I believe. Yeah, I think Bayonetta is Sega, which you're not going to be really familiar with Bayonetta, but it is a very popular franchise that has come as of late. They've already got like at least 3 games, I think, in her franchise with some spin-offs on Nintendo platforms. So they that's one that I could see them turning into a very much an R-rated, potentially horror genre film, and that'd be interesting because it deals a lot with angels and demons and stuff. So it would be a very fascinating film that I probably wouldn't watch. Also, because there'd be a lot of nudity in it too.
Yeah. I am not familiar with what other like Sega owned properties. Like, for example, Nintendo, we know Super Mario Brothers, Zelda, Metroid. There's 3 big ones right there, right off the bat. Then you've also got like Kirby, Star Fox, F-Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all those that could easily be made into movies.
Oh, so many.
I don't know of any properties that Sega actually owns, like Sonic, that they could turn into a movie, other than, I guess, what I just listed, which really, honestly, out of that list I just said, the only ones I'm slightly maybe familiar with, and it's because I've at least heard of them, are Streets of Rage and Virtua Fighter. I don't know any of the other ones I just read. I don't know what Super Monkey Ball is.
Yeah, I've heard of Virtua Fighter. I know about Super Monkey Balls. I don't see how you do a Super Monkey Ball movie. It's the gameplay on that's really weird. Like you could do something with those characters for like kids, but I just don't see how you turn that into a feature-length film that would be interesting at all to the same degree of Sonic and Super Mario Brothers. But
yeah. So, I mean, the only other property that I believe I think I might be wrong on this. So before you correct me, let me say it, and then I think I know what the correction is. The other one I'm thinking of that maybe, I don't know if it was owned by Sega, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't, was Twisted Metal, which is obviously getting a TV show. I think that one wasn't that actually owned or started on PlayStation?
I can't remember who Twisted Metal developer has nothing to do with Sega.
Okay, I think that was PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, it platforms. Yeah, the platform it appeared on was all PlayStation.
Okay.
Sony Interactive Entertainment developed it or published it. So yeah, it's published specifically for PlayStation games, but it's not like developed by Sony.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Again, I don't recall anything else. And I had a Sega Genesis. It's one of like only the 2 like video game systems I had as a kid. But
yeah,
I had the Sonic games, and then I had like the Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters and Aladdin. And I think that was all the games I had for Sega.
This might be a situation where someone is putting the cart in front of a fairly decent horse that doesn't need a cart in front of it. Focus on those Sonic movies. Do some stuff with Sonic. Sega, I don't know if you have enough properties that can actually bring in an audience. Because like, here's the thing you got to keep in mind also. Like, I'm quite certain that pretty much most, if not all, of the video game franchises you just mentioned have an audience. They have people who love those games. They have people who've played those games and have enjoyed those games. I don't think that crowd's big enough to warrant those games being turned into movies. And I think if you even try to aim towards a general audience with it, you got to do something. You got to do something interesting with those. Don't really lean on the fact that like this came from a video game, because that'll immediately turn off a lot of people. But just try to paint it like it's an original movie for a lot of those, and don't do Virtua Fighter. We have enough movies about fighting tournaments.
Yeah, we're still struggling to get Mortal Kombat done properly, and apparently someone got a wild hair up their butt to try to take another stab at Street Fighter. So let's try to nail like the 2 biggest names in fighting games before we start tackling like the 5th tier fighting games.
Right. Answer to this question is no. Because Mario, essentially the Mario franchise in movie form, is owned by Universal, where Sonic franchise is owned by Paramount. So just like we will never see Superman crossover with Iron Man because of Disney and WB,
there's also the thing is the Mario franchise as it stands right now is completely animated, while the Sonic is completely live action minus the CGI.
Yeah, so in that regard, they would have to do like an animated Sonic movie, and you're not going to get an animated Sonic movie from a different studio when there's already a live action one from Paramount. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
As fun as that would be, and unless the IP can work itself out where there's like a short film to promote like the Olympics or something, and both studios are willing to share, you know, their characters for that little short or whatever to promote the Olympics.
Which
other than that, you got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, last piece of news before we get like kind of into the bigger topics for tonight. This is just like a real quick pass thing. Is apparently at the premiere of Fast X, Vin Diesel let it drop that there may actually be a third movie in what's starting with Fast X as to potentially be a trilogy to cap off the series.
All right, now let's put on our surprised faces.
Just end this. I don't know of another movie series that I love so much, but absolutely hate now. Like, I am just so tired of these movies. Kind of going back to what I've heard as far as reviews that have already come in for Fast X, a lot of people are saying if you haven't liked the last two, this is a little bit better. But I've also heard some people say, yeah, this is kind of more of the same from like the tail end of Fate of the Furious and F9, and just so I'm very torn on this. Me personally, I want this series to end. Like, I really wish, in all honesty, Fast X would be the final movie. End it there and move on with something else. Stop making the Fast and Furious movies. They're getting way too ridiculous. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my gripe is with F9, why I don't enjoy it that much. And I think a part of it is the whole, well, he's got another brother that we didn't know about this entire time. We're in the 9th movie of this whole franchise, and let's introduce a new family member.
You know what we can do instead of really introducing another brother is people have cousins. Cousins you don't need to ever actually reference at any given point. It makes more sense to reference immediate family members like siblings, but a cousin can pop out of the woodwork, and that would make a lot more sense. Hey, you know what would have made more sense is John Cena being his cousin, not his brother. But, you know, that it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's maybe something that they were planning for originally, and Vin Diesel just accidentally let that slip at the premiere. But yeah, I don't need you at least had me behind. I was backing the idea of you're just going to do 2 movies to just really cap it off, and that's it. Fast X and Fast 11 or Fast XI or whatever. Like that I was okay with, sort of. But at least it was like, hey, there's an end in sight. In my head, in my heart, I was like, good, we're finally going to end this. But then Vin Diesel's like, nope, let's do another one. I'm like,
so the actual remarks that Vin Diesel gave was that they had the idea basically for the 10th one, present it to the studio. Studio's like, hey, let's see if we can split that up into 2 movies. Let's do Fast X 1 and 2. We'll just make it a bigger story where we can do it in 2 movies. And they're like, all right, cool. Yeah, we can do that. So we'll go ahead and just end off the franchise on number 11 and we'll call it a day. And then the 10th one was made. They presented the 10th one in its completion to the studio heads. And they were like, according to what Vin Diesel said, they were like, how do we feel about a trilogy? How do we feel about just doing a whole trilogy to end this off on? And that's kind of where at that point, Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez were kind of playing coy at that point and running off away from the camera and everything, as the person who was interviewing them at that time was like, wait, you can't just leave us on that. You can't just leave us on that. So it's not 100%. It's not actually confirmed that they are doing a 12th movie, but given Vin Diesel's placement and in the production of these movies now at this point. I could see him just kind of pulling a means to garner some interest in it, see if there's enough interest in it, and that way the studio can justify, yeah, let's go ahead and make the 12th one. The Fast franchise has its love. Like everybody, like people love the Fast and Furious movies. Maybe not everybody, but people love the Fast and Furious movies. And it does make sense to not end a franchise on a random odd number like 11. Even though my opinion is that the franchise probably should have ended on 7. But that's a little bit different because there's the third one count. And then, of course, the 7th one was the end of Brian's run in the movies. I think, and I'm just kind of rambling here, but I think now at this point, because all these connective threads and everything, I think at this point, the further you go with this franchise without Brian, the weirder it gets. So
yeah.
All that said,
I like this idea. The final film will be called Fast XX, and the end post-credit scene is Sam Jackson from Triple X along with like. I like the idea of like maybe Dom has to be put into like witness protection, and they turn him into Xander Cage, and then that's so stupid, but that's funny.
Oh, I don't know. Like, yeah, the franchise itself, it's time to leave the car in the garage and go inside and kind of just call it a day. But
it's time to go get your AARP checks a quarter mile at a time.
There's a chance we're gonna get the 12th one.
I don't know what it is, but like over this past week, almost every time I've been on any kind of stream, I've had to mention AARP, and I don't know why, but whatever.
ARP.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to like the main topics stuff. Main topics, not just our Superman, but just castings in general. Big news that launched today, right off the bat, fresh off the press. Eddie Murphy is apparently circling the idea of playing Pink Panther in a Pink Panther revival again.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Hamburger. Yeah. I mean, he's got the comedic chops for it, but the problem is I think the character of Clouseau is supposed to be very, very straight-laced. He doesn't know that he's silly. And that was how I saw the portrayal of Steve Martin and Peter Sellers playing that character. They've all been like very like on point with what they do. They feel like they are doing the straight and narrow, right on track thing, but it's just really so goofy. Like, for example, Steve Martin's trying to say hamburger.
The burger.
He's doing it as far as the point of view from the character. He's giving it his all to trying to say it, but it just comes off sounding ridiculous. Yeah. So stuff like that. The character is not inherently goofy. It's just that's how it just comes off. And I don't know if that's necessarily something that Eddie Murphy could do, keeping in mind that he's playing essentially a detective. Looking back like Axel F., he was very straight-laced character, but his silliness was something that he knew he was doing. Axel knew he was being silly or ridiculous in those scenes. Yeah. So I don't know how well that's going to work with this.
I don't know. My overall opinion on this is I'm sure it could work, and I'm sure it could be a lot of fun, but Eddie Murphy, his track record as of late with the movies he's been doing, like, there haven't been a whole lot of like real hits in my mind lately. That You People was kind of, and then what was the Coming to America sequel? Blip.
Yeah.
Blip. So I don't on this one, Pink, like, didn't we just had some Pink Panther movies? I feel like, obviously they were over a decade ago at this point. I'm pretty sure. Like one of them, I think was like, I can't remember if the sequel or the original was 2007, but somewhere around there. There's one of them. Like, so, I mean, it's been well over a decade now at this point, but I feel like it's still too recent to do another Pink Panther iteration, and to even to try something new. Like, I don't know. In this situation, I feel like do something similar to Pink Panther. You don't have to attach it to the IP of Pink Panther. And yeah, absolutely get Eddie Murphy or whoever to star in it. But do something fun, and this is one of those situations where it's like, do something fun, new, and original. Don't do something based off of another IP again. I'm tired of the running back to the same IPs over and over and over again. Like, give us an Eddie Murphy is a detective movie. Like, cool, I'm down for that, but I don't know if we need another Pink Panther.
Yeah, you were listing like some of the movies that he's done that have not done very well. I would say there is one in favor, and that was the Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah, that's really the only one recently.
Yeah. The other thing to kind of piggyback off of this is right now they're also saying that this Pink Panther movie would be directed by Jeff Fowler, which is odd because as far as I know, he's busy working on Sonic 3.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I don't know. This might end up being one of those situations where wait for a trailer, wait for more news, and then wait for a trailer. Because once the trailer comes out, we get the idea of the tone of the movie, and if it comes across like looking really fun and entertaining, the script is flipped on the script is flipped on my opinion about. I can talk
say
on
it
my
another
opinion.
5 times real quick.
Say what?
Say it another 5 times real quick.
Script is flipped. 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 I can do it.
Congrats.
Yeah, on my opinion on this movie, I could turn around and be like, "Oh, you know what? Never mind. This looks great. Forget what I was saying."
I do like this. So weird thing about this news story is it might feel like something that does. Seems like something like in the like early to mid 2000s they would do this just as like almost kind of like a stunt type of movie.
Yeah.
Not necessarily stunt casting, but just, hey, let's make a Pink Panther movie and let's put Eddie Murphy in it.
Well, this feels like along the same lines of like, hey, let's make a Haunted Mansion movie and put Eddie Murphy in it. You know, it feels like the same kind of situation.
What I would like to do, though, is find out that there's actually like some secret organization and kind of like what we feel like. Again, I might be off on this because I'm not a James Bond fan, but I feel like James Bond is just a character and they've all been separate people. Like the Sean Connery James Bond may have actually been like David Andrews and he takes over the role of James Bond and just goes by the name of James Bond. Then he retired and they brought in George Lazenby, who was really like John Smith or whatever. And like, it's all other people. Like, they could be doing something like that with this, where it's just Inspector Clouseau is just a title, and they just bring in random people, which would be great because then I want to see them take the cover of Bowfinger and change it to the Pink Panthers and have both Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy on there. That'll sell that movie.
Listen, that's fair. But by the end of either this movie or if they make it a franchise, whatever, by the end of the franchise, I want the Inspector Clouseau title to be given to Aubrey Plaza. All right.
Yes, that would be cool. I'm actually, so now that we're mentioning this, it just dawned on me. I'm willing to bet they're probably wanting to angle this close to the Knives Out, Benoit Blanc, and Agatha Christie.
They want to capitalize on that, yeah.
Yeah, Hercule Poirot. They want to do something in the veins of that. A detective mystery that has a more of a comedic spin to it.
Yeah.
So that's I could see them possibly trying to shoot for a franchise of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that might be. Yeah. I agree. I want to see the trailer, though. Moving on. Next one. The reason Venom is behind me, apparently over this past week, they announced that Chiwetel Ejiofor and Juno Temple have signed on to be in Venom 3.
Meh.
They haven't said who yet, and I'll be honest, I don't know where else they could go with that story.
So Chiwetel Ejiofor is not playing Mordo?
No.
Oh, weird. That was connected to the MCU.
Why would Mordo be in a Venom movie?
I don't know, but I thought it was connected to the MCU, and he's already been in the MCU, so.
Yeah.
Oh, guess not. Okay.
Yeah, I
Guess it's not
don't
gonna
know.
happen.
The only thing they could potentially do is just another random symbiote. I'm actually thinking,
Likely.
in all honesty, they could probably lean towards like the Planet of the Symbiotes storyline. Which could potentially make sense following up on what we were left with is a part of the symbiote got dropped off in the MCU. That could spread within the MCU, even though the MCU themselves are not going to show this. Sony could pick back up on this and say that while the movies that take place in the MCU were happening, that little piece of symbiote that was left behind is taking over other people, and they're all going to end up coming back to the Sony Marvel verse or whatever.
Instead of Peter.
Yeah, instead of Peter. And then that's going to bring in kind of like a Spider-Verse, Venom-verse, Planet of the Symbiotes type of thing.
No, that's not going to happen. The reason that symbiote was left behind in the MCU is because it's going to attach to Peter.
You would think. That's what I was hoping for. But
especially because that's a post-credit in No Way Home. It's going to affect Spider-Man. It's not going to just be some random thing that just doesn't.
Or that could be one of those things that Sony was like, hey, we want to do this. And Kevin Feige's like, this is a bad idea. And they're like, no, we want to do this. And Kevin Feige's like, whatever, guys. Because I feel like that kind of conversation happens all the time. Craven the Hunter, Madam Web.
So the other thing to think about too is that Sony obviously having access to pretty much all of the Spider-Man bad guys that they can do Craven and Madam Web movies means that there could be at any given point another Spider-Man villain that they're like, hey, you know what? Chuck him into the Venom movie. They're going to be a villain for Venom now and not Spider-Man, which is a terrible idea too. But literally anybody who hasn't appeared yet in a Spider-Man movie.
I'm thinking they could either go Planet of the Symbiotes, which is what I would probably lean towards given what we've had already. The other storyline would be potentially moving forward with Toxin. Problem is Toxin is the symbiote child of Carnage, which apparently is already destroyed. And then the character, the human host for Toxin, is Patrick Mulligan, who was the cop in Let There Be Carnage. Stupid fucking title. He was the cop in that shot Shriek in the eye. So he's not really the good-hearted nature cop like Patrick Mulligan is in the comics. So I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole lot going on there.
There is a third one I just thought of also. They could actually somehow bring back Carnage and make that Maximum Carnage, which just means we're just doing another go round of Venom with Carnage, but they could potentially lean towards getting other people like Mordo from the MCU to come help out. Kind of like in the Maximum Carnage storyline, they did bring in other heroes that just had nothing to do with Venom or Carnage. Captain America, Deathlock, Firestar, like all these characters came in to help out with that storyline, but
what if he was just playing Deathlock? I know Deathlock's technically appeared in like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but again, how connected to the MCU are we really being here?
I don't know. So that one, I believe that is an answer that we will get when Secret Invasion comes out. When Secret Invasion comes out, I still have money on the fact that we're going to see Daisy Johnson Quake pop up in Secret Invasion. If she pops up in that, then that means Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back to being somewhat a part of the MCU again, which then leads to the question of where's Coulson?
Yeah. So in talking about this casting, this does make me feel a little bit bad for Juno Temple, considering she's doing such a great job on Ted Lasso. I don't know that I want to see her go in this direction with her career to be in Venom 3. She could literally do anything else and be perfectly fine, but this feels like a just a terrible career move. That's my opinion. She should do what makes her happy, but I feel like off the heels of being such a popular character on Ted Lasso, do literally anything else, please. Literally anything else.
Let's not shoot it in the foot, though. The two Venom movies haven't been terrible. They are watchable. They are great. They are rewatchable. They're just not the greatest. They're not the first thing I'm always wanting to put on. As much as I love the character of Venom and I love what they did with the look of Venom.
Mean, listen, you're right. I heard the first Venom movie is very rewatchable and rewatchable and rewatchable and rewatchable and rewatchable. Right, Garth? Anyway.
Good one. Anyways, let's move on. Next movie that we're talking about real quick before we get to Superman is they also announced some casting for Beetlejuice 2, announcing Willem Dafoe playing a cop in like the afterlife. He's like the afterlife police. So that should be interesting. I'm imagining we'll probably get something similar to like his character from Boondock Saints or his character from American Psycho.
Yeah.
He's good at playing cops that are very, you don't know what they're thinking, but they're just really good at their job.
Yeah.
So if he could bring that level, that same kind of character to Beetlejuice, that could be a lot of fun. Speaking of which, we also got Monica Bellucci coming in as Beetlejuice's wife. So Beetlejuice gave up trying to marry Lydia and just married Monica Bellucci, which, let's be honest, Winona Ryder, Monica Bellucci.
Hey, come on now. Everyone's got their pros and cons.
I know, but I mean, it just sounds silly. The title should be Beetlejuice. That's good.
I like Willem Dafoe being in this. I got nothing else to really add to that. I just like Willem Dafoe being in this. I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's a great fit. Is it still directed by Tim Burton?
I believe it's still being done by Tim Burton.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
So the main focus of that is please still hold on to the same look and aesthetic. I don't want this to be a movie that, and I know this is going to happen in some parts, but I don't want a movie that looks like a completely different franchise. When they go back on like some of these legacy ones that they've been making, some of them you can kind of tell this is a movie that takes place in 2023, while this was a movie that took place back in the 80s. Like Top Gun, I don't think really felt like that. Top Gun kind of felt like it still was look and visual wise, other than, of course, better cameras and color correcting and stuff.
And we exist in a future time where a different kind of a plane exists, a stealth plane. You know,
it felt like it still belonged in that same world. I'm trying to think of an example that just did not feel like that. What's another like legacy movie that came out?
Shoot, man. I don't know, because I know what you're talking about. There's sometimes, like, because of technology updating, things change and whatnot.
Or if you get a different director with different director, different cinematographer, the look and feel is completely different, and it takes you out of that movie. You don't feel like you're connecting back with the coming to America. There's a good one. That did not feel like it took place in the same world as the original Coming to America.
We're also going to get another big one here with Indiana Jones getting a fifth movie and being directed by James Mangold and not Steven Spielberg. So we're going to see that here pretty soon and see how if the effects are there.
But the trailers we've gotten so far, those look very similar.
Roughly, yeah, they roughly feel like an Indiana Jones movie for sure.
Granted, I still haven't watched the fourth Indiana Jones movie, which I will be doing once the Indiana Jones movies land on Disney Plus at the end of this month.
The big thing here is that Beetlejuice has a lot of like practical claymation like effects in the original, and you will lose its charm if you decide to go CGI with this instead of keeping the same kind of practical claymation-esque effects.
Sandworms, you hate them too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see that, which, I mean, that's still possible. I don't know who did the actual effects for that, but that seems very like Phil Tippett type of esque. And we know Phil Tippett is still doing claymation animation because he did that movie Mad God that got all the rave reviews and tripped out all the people who accidentally took shrooms before watching it.
Whoops.
But like we know that that's still possible, and it still looks good, and that could still fall into the same look and feel as the original Beetlejuice. So, yeah, I would love to see, as long as the visual style and everything stays the same, that would be great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Superman.
Woo!
Man, there are Superman castings all over the place right now. Just every single day I'm seeing like more and more people talking about Superman or Lex or Lois and stuff. The main ones, like, say with Lois, I know like a lot of people were saying, since James Gunn's doing this, why don't we get him to put his wife as Lois Lane? Which I don't think she would actually make a good Lois Lane. What's her name? Jennifer Holland, yeah. I don't think she has the look of Lois Lane. I'm completely basing that right now as all the times I've seen Jennifer Holland, she's been like the badass, snarky type of character, which does very much seem like Lois Lane, but she's also been blonde, which I know is a simple hair color change, but I don't see... I'm not saying that Jennifer Holland is known as just a blonde, period, and that's her whole entire character in anything she's in. I just can't see that translating. Like, I'm trying to picture her as Lois Lane. I just can't see it. Maybe if she did dye her hair brunette, maybe I could see it a little bit more, but I don't think so. And for that big of a character, I think you're going to want a bigger name. That's not necessarily a role that he would want to put his friends and family in. So
yeah, and it's also I mean, I don't know how old Jennifer Holland is, but age-wise, if we're going with someone much younger than Henry Cavill for Superman, then you're also wanting a Lois Lane that matches as well. So
I know like Rachel Brosnan was one that I've seen people talking about, or Emma Mackey. Sure, maybe I just need to see some like actual like footage potentially of like how they could do it that role, but
Emma Mackey makes a little bit of sense, I think.
And then there's also Lex. The only thing I've really heard for Lex so far is some people were saying that Nicholas Hoult, who was also up potentially rumored for Superman, is also rumored to potentially play Lex Luthor, which I guess is fine. I'm trying to picture like Nicholas Hoult bald, which, for the love of God, can we get Lex bald again? Like, stop putting hair pieces on Lex Luthor.
Bigger picture with Lex here. Stop making him a goofball. Stop it.
Yeah. Don't make him a goofball. Just make him a serious villain. I want to see a live action version of Lex Luthor from Superman the Animated Series and the Justice League cartoons. That's the Lex I want to see.
We don't need an erratic rich person. We don't need an Elon Musk style Lex Luthor
who's trying to get land.
Yeah. We need someone who is a serious, intimidating threat.
Yeah. So, Jesse Eisenberg is not that.
When I heard Jesse Eisenberg cast as Lex, I was like, no, pass.
And even in the movie, Jesse Eisenberg is easily, in my opinion, Jesse Eisenberg is one of the worst parts of the entire DCEU. Yeah, so I'm
not going to do it, but
yes, I made that joke. I was like, well, so James Gunn already has a working history with that guy who played Martin X in Guardians of the Galaxy. He would be a good Lex Luthor.
Listen, he would be great now, but he's not going to do it.
This is still a very hot take because I know people like love Gene Hackman and they love Kevin Spacey's acting performance is pretty much, I think, the only thing you can say about him right now. Michael Rosenbaum is the best live action Lex Luthor we've ever gotten.
Yep.
Easily, by far, hands down, no competition.
You know, we see a lot of the same. We see a lot of the same rumors, a lot of the same wish lists from people. What was it, Bryan Cranston? People are always like on board with Bryan Cranston as Lex, and honestly, like I saw this today, and I have to say this is such a better choice. Bryan Cranston for new Jim Gordon, 100%.
Yes,
sold. Done, 100%. We don't need him as Lex. Put him as Jim Gordon.
I still think Gary Oldman is the top tier.
Yeah, but you're not going to do Gary Oldman again. So who's the next best person you're going to find?
Bryan Cranston would be good.
Bryan Cranston would be fantastic as Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as I and you know what, I always love also like hanging out on the internet and seeing people just randomly out there throwing out, well, this person I think would work for Lex. This person would work for Superman based on just the smallest bit of, well, they kind of look like them in some passing fashion. All the people who always say, like, get Vin Diesel to play Lex Luthor. And I'm like, no. Vin Diesel, he's good at what he does. He is very good at what he does. He is not gonna be he would not be a good Lex. Does he look like Lex? Yeah, he looks like the animated series Lex, sort of, kind of, mostly because he's tan and bald. But outside of literally those two things,
deeper voice,
sure.
Like Clancy Brown.
Outside of those things, that's it. I don't see him portraying Lex.
No,
well,
and I don't want to see that. I want a good Lex Luthor. Finally, I want the Michael Rosenbaum Lex on the big screen in a movie.
Yeah,
just obviously it's not going to be played by Michael Rosenbaum, but someone do it like properly. Yeah, like Nicholas Hoult has done evil villainous roles, but like his character in The Menu was more of just a weaselly moron. Rather than actually like evil or trying to do anything bad. He just his food was good.
I don't know how I feel about Nicholas Hoult as either Superman or Lex. Definitely not as Superman. He does not. So the thing with Superman is you're looking for a very specific type. And I think you get the same kind of thing when people are wanting to recast James Bond. You're looking for a very specific type for James Bond. You're looking for not quite middle age yet, but a dashing, debonair, with like Daniel Craig stepping in, someone who may be a little bit rugged, but rugged in a charming way. Essentially, you're looking for that kind of person for like James Bond. Likewise, for Superman, you're looking for someone who can be very Boy Scout, someone who can be very charming and positive and upbeat, and has very chiseled features and has a very specific look and tone to them. Nicholas Hoult can portray some of those things that I mentioned, but looks-wise does not have... Even if he went and bulked up, worked out, got into Superman shape, I don't think he would even still look like Superman. I don't think he's a good choice.
I think there's also, aside from looks, which is a part of it, there's also they have to have the ability to have that presence. They have to be able to essentially like control the room.
Yeah,
in a fair and just way. Like you look at Christopher Reeve, when he spoke as Superman, you listened to him, you trusted him, you knew that he knew what he was talking about, what he was doing. Cavill did that also. When Cavill spoke as Superman, he had your respect. He spoke with authority, but he was kind and fair and honest and nice. And everyone liked him. He has to have that likability and the ability to be Superman while also being a bumbling Clark Kent that is the exact opposite of that. No one is listening to Clark Kent. Look at Man of Steel. Clark Kent's wanting to do, or I don't know, it wasn't Man of Steel, it was Batman v Superman. Clark Kent's wanting to do the story about Bruce Wayne, and Perry White's not listening to him, telling him he's going to go do a sports column. So
I am not 100% mad at this.
Brett Goldstein as Lex.
I don't know how he looks bald, and you're taking away one of his biggest features, which is his hairiness. But I am not mad at this. I don't know if this would happen given his connection currently to the MCU and what they might do with him there. But I could see it. I could see, you know what? The more I'm thinking about it right now, I could see it, and I'm not mad at it.
My issue with it is the only thing I've actually seen Brett Goldstein in is that post-credit scene with him as Hercules. I haven't watched Ted Lasso yet, so I don't know of how he portrays characters in a property. For me, I would just want to see like a really good picture of him like in a nice like business looking suit. And I would have to go based completely off of looks. So
I'm sure I can find one to show you afterwards. I'm pretty sure he wore a suit at one point in Ted Lasso.
Bradley Cooper as Lex.
He could do it. I don't know that's not my first, second, third, or fourth choice.
Yeah. Given Bradley Cooper's personality, I don't think he has the personality of running a major business while being fiendish. Bradley Cooper's take, I think, would lean more closer to like what Gene Hackman and Spacey did, having like that goofiness to him. Yeah. So like all that. I think probably Nicholas Hoult would probably be one of the ones that I would lean more towards playing Lex, possibly. That sounds probably like one of the more better suggestions I've heard. As far as Superman, it seems like the big rumor is this David Corenswet, which I don't know who he is. I've never heard of him before. The images I've seen, like people doing the mock-ups, like in the thumbnail, I did not do these in the thumbnail. These are all I just grabbed them off of Google. But the only one I did is I did have to replace Nicholas Holt's head on the Superman body because just the head and the face just did not look good.
It still looks weird. The neck looks way thicker than his jaw.
Yeah. So pardon that one, but like the David Cornsweat here, the main one on the right, he looks good. That looks like what I mean, he's a little bit slender, I guess. I would like to maybe see a little bit more meat on him, but yeah, that was weird. But like, yeah, I could see him. He looks like, just in this image alone, I could see the trust in the eyes. He's got the jaw, especially with the lighting, the way they did this image. I could see that.
He's a projectionist in Pearl.
Oh, David Cornsweat was? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
Damn, I have to go back and watch Pearl again, which no problem there. Yeah, that might be like really good casting then. I do like that idea. He looks good.
So of the three that you've got pictured, he looks the best. Of the three you've got pictured, the one I want to see the least is freaking Nate Jacobs on the right or on the left side of that image as Superman. Hard pass, Jacob Elordi. Look, I'm sure in real life that young man is a fine gentleman and he is perfectly okay, but good God, Euphoria has ruined me for him. I absolutely will not stand for him as Superman. No, can't do it. Sorry, man. Man. Can't do it.
So again, I haven't watched Euphoria, but apparently he's just a very terrible person.
He's not a good person. Good Lord. No, cannot do Nate Jacobs as Superman. It doesn't work. Brain does not compute.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't really look like Superman, so there's that too. But
yeah, and then Jonathan Peck is saying that about David Cornsweat is he's a Juilliard trained actor like Christopher Reeve and of Jewish heritage like the creators of Superman. I mean, that's all stuff that's really in his favor. So yeah, as long as he could commit, if he's able to commit to DC and James Gunn, which at that point, if this is being landed at your doorstep, yes, please.
This is a career making,
career defining. Yeah.
I mean, look, how much did we know about Henry Cavill before Superman?
The only thing I really had seen Henry Cavill in was Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, I think Superman is a big part of Henry Cavill's career. And I think likewise, this would be a big part of David Cornsweat's career if he were to be the one casted here.
The only other thing, like everything else I know that Henry Cavill was in, I think are all roles that he got after already being Superman.
Yep.
Like he was in Man from U.N.C.L.E. That was after Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. He was in Mission Impossible. Obviously after Man of Steel, because him and that stupid mustache were such a problem. But yeah, like all of that, this is easily a career-defining role, especially if James Gunn and Peter Safran can right this DC ship and put us on a MCU-like trajectory for the rest of the DC movies. If they can do that, this is easily going to be one of the best roles and characters for the entire franchise. So,
yep, I think it would be a good move. Right now, I think he should be top of the list for anyone. So,
yeah.
I also don't know like to how deep into casting James Gunn currently is, because they're not planning on starting shooting that until January. So it's got a ways off before they start shooting that movie. So obviously they're going to want to cast they're probably going to want to have a cast for it by the back end of summer. I don't know if they announce a casting. Well, they might announce a casting for it at Comic-Con. That might be a place you announce a new Superman casting. But at the same time, like WB is one of those where I can see them announcing something for him, announcing something in their own kind of presentation, much like Marvel does their own presentation now. So,
yeah. So real quick before we actually end this, because I completely forgot to add this to it. Jonathan Peck was mentioning that David Cornsweet also got casted in Twisters. I forgot they did actually announce some casting in that. So Twisters, the sequel to Twister, which I guess we're going to get more than one tornado in this movie, is what I'm guessing here.
Are there sharks involved?
No, but there's possibly aliens or alien. I don't know.
Wow. God, please don't.
So the casting, it looks like on there, just running through this real quick, we got Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Perea, Mara Tierney. I'm trying to see what other like names I just easily recognize off the top. Katie O'Brien. So I love the fact we're seeing Katie O'Brien getting more roles.
Yeah.
I really like Katie O'Brien in Mandalorian and
Quantumania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's been really good at that. So let me double check on that real quick. Also,
so Nerd brought up there's also the writer's strike and they can't actually do anything with Superman right now. The thing about that is it depends on where James Gunn stands in terms of being in solidarity with the strike, because as far as I'm aware, he is sole writer on that movie, and he's a non-unionized writer. He is on his onesie, so therefore he can make up his own mind and decision as to when he's writing and when he's not writing the movie, and he's already completed at least the first rough draft. So I'm pretty sure that if he's free and clear and wants to do it, he's able and allowed to come up with the other drafts for the movie, and that way it's ready to go and ready to shoot by January still.
Yeah. Also, just being honest, there's nothing stopping, like, if he wants to work on it in the peace and quiet of his own home where no one else except maybe like Jennifer Holland is around. Who's really going to stop him? Like,
he's the head of DC Studios. He answers to himself and to WB executives. So that's about it.
He could tell the WB executives all day, like, nope, I'm not writing until the strike. I refuse to cross the line, and still write in his home if he wants, just to save himself some time. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing that could be done or the benefits, but I'm not a writer. So anyways,
we'll see how it affects it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. So again, real quick to piggyback, right after this is done, here in about 20 or so minutes, we're going to hop over to our Discord. If you are on our Patreon at the $5 due tier, come join us. We're watching Avengers Age of Ultron. So that will be a lot of fun. It's on Disney+. If you have Disney+, come join us. We'll do a group watch. Nice, easy, breezy. Should be a lot of fun.
Beautiful cover girl. What?
Yeah. Okay. Come join us over there for that. So that is happening here in a little while. Coming up next Wednesday after Tagline, we will be doing our trivia hangout. So if you're at the Maverick tier on our Patreon, you can come join us for that. Apparently, we're going to be doing Disney trivia. So be prepared and study up on some Mickey Mouse and come join us for some fun movie trivia over there.
Gosh.
Anyways, tomorrow night, we will be dropping a spoiler-free review for Fast X. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, Friday, May 26th will be the marquee Disney live-action movie. So go make sure you watch Little Mermaid in theaters and then join us that Friday night as we will be tier ranking all these Disney live-action movies. If you want the official list, again, hop on our Patreon. Even if you join at the $1 tier, you get access to the Discord, and the list of movies we will be tier ranking is currently sitting on our Discord for all to see. So come join us for that as well. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anything else going on? Am I missing anything else? I got it all right.
I think we nailed it all right now.
Okay. So yeah, that is all coming up. And yeah, movie trailers as we're able to get to them. I know the Mission Impossible dropped today. We haven't had time to be able to get to it today. We haven't been home. It just hasn't happened. Paramount, today was not a good day to drop that trailer. And I understand you're dropping the trailer because Fast X comes out tomorrow, which makes sense. That makes complete sense. And we should have actually seen this coming. We didn't, but whatever. Just not a good day. And Paramount, just plan better next time, okay?
Yeah. Paramount, we need you to, we can send you our calendar. We can send you our calendar if you need it, Paramount. We can send you our calendar, and then you can determine when you can drop movie trailers based on that, and then we'll be able to do reactions to your movie trailers and give you free press
For
to
example,
our 1.7, 1.8 hundred subscribers.
For example, last night, we really weren't doing too much. They dropped the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's. You know what? I did a trailer reaction. You can watch that trailer reaction. It's currently on our channel right now. Go watch it. It's really short because the trailer is less than a minute. So I have my thoughts, but the reaction, real quick, easy to digest, and a lot of fun.
Studios. Yeah. Listen, midnight Central Time. Best time for you to drop a trailer.
Yep.
We'll knock it out every time immediately.
Anyways, if you like this, please hit that like button. We appreciate everyone in the chat. If you're watching this on a can't talk. If you're watching this on a rewatch, let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the chat. And again, while you're down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it already. I am loving what these trailer reactions and reviews and the YouTube shorts and stuff are doing for numbers, because we're getting a nice increase here. So this channel is growing. It is building, and I'm enjoying it. Please come be a part of that community. Subscribe, follow, join us on the Patreon, join us in the Discord as this grows, because it's getting better. As I said in the Five Nights at Freddy's, I do have a pass for Fantastic Fest this September. So I'm going to be talking all about the horror movies that get premiered at Fantastic Fest. That should be a lot of fun. He won't be there.
Nope.
But my face will be. So come join us for that content, because that should be a lot of fun as well. I miss not being a part of Fantastic Fest last year. So that is coming up. And then, otherwise just follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Cinefanatics. You can also follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP. I have an idea for content I'm going to do over there. I'm probably not going to be doing actual live streaming, playing games for a little while on my channel. Going to kind of stay away from that for right now, but I have some idea of something else I want to do too. So stay tuned.
And then you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/ChrisAdamsMLP, where we're currently running through Breath of the Wild, finishing up Banjo-Kazooie, and loving Fortnite like usual.
Yep. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Again, thank you all for watching live. Thank you if you're watching this on our replay. We will see y'all later. We will see you patrons here in a few minutes over in the Discord. Y'all all have a great evening. Good night.